Hi, my name is Dara Dietz, and today I want to spend a little time talking about infection and what we can do naturally for infections in the body and on the body. This is something that I have quite a bit of experience in. Each one of us herbalists, we tend to kind of specialize in what it was that brought us into natural healing to start with, and what it is that we had to figure out in our own bodies. For me, it was infection. From a young child, I had been prone to bladder and kidney infections. The way that this works is your body only has so much vitality, so much reserve. And when, let's say that you've got an infection, a bladder infection, and your body comes along and it sees the infection in the bladder and it goes, okay, let's get that out of there, and it starts processing the infection out. Okay, the immune system, your immune cells need to attach and neutralize each piece of waste that the body is processing out so that it can be eliminated through the liver and on out through the bowel, kidneys, or whatever. And if you don't have enough immune cells to attach and neutralize all the waste infection that is being eliminated, you will reabsorb that. And when you reabsorb the infection, that's when you start having symptoms. The burning urine, the achy back, the kidneys becoming inflamed, and all of this. And our body is constantly working to clear infection and things from it, germs and all this that don't belong in us. It's constantly working to do this, the immune system is. So when you run out of immune cells, when you have a very active infection going on somewhere and your immune cells are used up and there is no longer the ability to neutralize the waste, then it's reabsorbed, and that is when you start feeling symptomatic. You start having the fevers, the achy, all that, all the symptoms of the infection come up. When we moved to New York in the mid-90s, I gave up my medical coverage and all that. I had left my job and given up the medical coverage, and we were going to back to basically work with a missionary group of people. And when we got there, of course, an infection began to come up in me within just a few weeks, month, whatever, that we had been there. And one of the women came up and introduced me to some capsules. I believe she gave me several bottles of capsules, golden seal, dandelion, garlic, 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C, and they were 1,000 milligram capsules of vitamin C, and juniper berry, capsulated juniper berry, and I believe that was it. And she said that I should take 3 of those capsules every 3 hours from each of the bottles. And I'm thinking that I'm going to have to go to the emergency room and just bite the bullet on what it's going to cost to deal with the infection, because the pain would come so fast and I would be passing blood in my urine within just an hour or so of the real pain coming up. She suggested that I try this, and I did, anything not to have to pay the big bills to go to the hospital. And believe it or not, it worked. Within 24 hours or so, the infection was going away. and the pain was, within an hour of taking the first dose, the burning pain from urinating had stopped. And within 24-48 hours, the ache in my back, my kidneys being inflamed, that ache was dissipating and becoming much more comfortable. And within a week or so of being on that protocol, I was pretty much symptom free. I continued for another week taking what she had suggested, and then just laid it down. And it was probably 3 months or so before the infection came up again, and I needed to do it again, which was actually quite a while, considering it had been almost monthly for years. I was constantly coming up with it. And over the next year or so, couple of years, I would, whenever the symptoms would come up, I would start taking that protocol with the capsules, and it cleared the infection each time. It would stop the symptoms and take care of it. Well, during this time, I also discovered herbal extracts and the power that they have. What you're doing with the herbal extract is you are bringing the properties of the herbs and extracting them and preserving them indefinitely in the liquid. And grain alcohol vodka, 80 proof vodka, is used most commonly to make herbal extracts. And so I decided, when I learned what an extract was and how to do them, that I would go ahead and put this combination that I had been taking into extract form and see how that works. So it was garlic, dandelion, and golden seal, and then I added, for circulatory purposes, ginger, horseradish, and cayenne. Ginger moves blood from the extremities up to the heart, cayenne moves blood from the heart to the extremities, and horseradish moves blood to the head. So you're getting really good circulation, plus the infection fighting herbs, the most powerful ones out there for dealing with infection. And putting this together and putting it in extract form, I began to use it, and it was years. It was much more effective than the capsules, as far as, instead of 3 months, 6 months, or whatever between infections, it became years between infections, and between my kidneys getting achy and feeling like I had an infection coming on. Several years back, I discovered a secondary formula or combination, a master herb that is also excellent for infections: plantain. Plantain goes to the lymphatic system and helps clear infection from the lymphatic system, which is the lower level of the body. And garlic, which was what I was using in the original combination, goes system-wide and basically just clears out whatever is going on. So with these two formulas, and they come at infection from different angles, they are amazing support. A formula made with plantain and a formula made with garlic are excellent aids for clearing infection from the body. The other support that is needed is echinacea. Echinacea sends a chemical command to your immune system to produce more immune cells, to make more of the fighters in your body to deal with the infection, to neutralize it. And so with the infection formulas that can be used, you also want to use a good echinacea. And the one I've always done is I do a combination of a couple different echinacea plants, the there's several species out there, and I just take and combine the roots from 2 of them, and then the plants and the seeds, and do a combination, and that is what I've always used myself. But any of the echinaceas, the roots have the best chemistry, and so if you're just wanting to use one thing, the root would be the best to get your hands on to extract the echinacea root. So when I began using the infection formulas, the infection combinations, along with the echinacea, I basically have cleared infections from my system. But what I also discovered was these will work for any type of infection in the body. I have yet to meet an infection that I can't beat. And over the years, I have developed a what I like to call light, moderate, and intense infection work. The light infection work is using the infection combinations every 3 hours, and an ounce of echinacea once a day, of the herbal extracted echinacea once a day. Moderate would be every 2 hours you would use an infection formula, and again, just an ounce of echinacea once a day. And for intense infection work, it would be every hour that you would take an infection formula. There are other things that can be added to the protocols, and the infection info sheet maps out the other programs, the other things that can be added to the infection work. For pneumonia, clearing the lungs when the lungs are affected, and or actually any infection that is got a real hold in the body, you would probably want to, in addition to doing the moderate or intense infection work, add garlic paste to the feet. Do garlic paste at night for 1 or 2 nights. That will help draw the infection out also, and add octane basically to the work that you're doing. The garlic paste is put on the sole of the foot only. It's a combination of Vaseline and pressed garlic. You do a 50-50 mix of the 2 items and mix them thoroughly, and then apply them to the sole of the foot from beneath the toes to the heel, and then wrap it with gauze to hold it in place, but don't cinch it. Before you apply that, you put a Vaseline barrier on the whole foot. You cover the foot completely with Vaseline. You can use non-petroleum jelly, which works just fine, and you just coat the foot very well, top, bottom, sides, everywhere with this. As you may know, garlic is quite caustic, and you would not want to apply this paste directly to the skin. It would degrade the skin. It's too caustic to be applied directly to the skin. Vaseline has a density that will allow the garlic to pass through and do its job, but hold it away from damaging the skin. So it can do its work, and you will not suffer the consequences of having the garlic applied to the skin. Once you have applied the garlic paste to the foot on top of the Vaseline coating, you would then wrap the foot with gauze, a roll of gauze just around the foot, and then I use shoe covers They're the waterproof shoe covers like they use in surgery and for sterile applications in the hospital. I find them on Amazon, and they're not much. And I just keep a stock of those, so anytime I have to do garlic paste to the feet or whatever, you can just slip the foot inside of this with all that on it, and it just makes a protector, protects the sheets, protects the world from the garlic paste. And then you spend the night with that. You cannot put any pressure on your feet once you have the garlic paste on. You have to stay off your feet. So men have it pretty easy. For any night trips to the bathroom, they can use a urinal. We women have to get a little more industrious and think of ways to deal with it. If you watch the video that is on my YouTube channel on garlic paste to the feet, it will explain ways that women can do this and not suffer in the night. The other option that needs to be applied when doing a moderate, basic, moderate, or intense infection program would be clearing the liver. Depending on the degree of infection work that you are doing would determine how many ELFs, emergency liver flushes, that you needed to do. For the moderate, for the light infection work, doing one ELF at the end of the week would probably be fine. Just getting that liver cleared, getting all that waste out, because your liver is the vacuum cleaner of the body, and it is pulling all that waste into itself that the die-off that you are cutting loose with the infection work that you are doing is being filtered out through the liver. So you want to support the liver in doing its work and keep it flushed and cleared. So doing an ELF and getting that liver cleared is a very good idea. When it's light infection work, probably the end of the week, after 5 days on the infection formulas or whatever, just go ahead and flush your liver through. When you're doing a moderate infection program, you might want to do an ELF every 2 or 3 days. For the intense infection work, it would be an ELF daily for 5 days in a row, while you're doing the infection formulas every hour. I have seen that protocol is very intense, and I have seen it save the life of quite a few who had basically been sent home to die from infections that just could not be cleared from the body. The antibiotics in that is used by westernized medicine is suppression therapy. You're actually suppressing the infection deeper into the body so the symptoms go away, and because it's no longer in the upper levels being processed out, the infection is driven deep into the system. And so the symptoms will go away, but the infection is not being cleared from the body. It's suppression therapy. And with the herbals, we're actually clearing the infection from the body. So it takes time. If you've used antibiotics repeatedly in your life, you may need to be on an infection protocol for several weeks to several months. Or the alternative is to do the protocol symptomatically when your body is overwhelmed, when the immune system is overwhelmed with the work that's being done, then and you start getting symptoms of infection, then go back on the infection protocol and get it back under control again. So there are two ways to come at it. You can just go on the program, stay on it for an indefinite period of time, and just allow the body to clear the infection from the deep down areas. It's like peeling an onion. You're just getting layers and layers of it out. If you do not want to do that, you can, and it's what I did when I first came in and started doing the programs. What I just used the program symptomatically when the symptoms would come up and my bladder would heat up and my back would start aching again, and knowing that my kidneys were becoming inflamed again and all that, I would go on the protocol and stay on it for a few weeks, and then when everything had cleared up, I would stop and just wait until the symptoms came up again. That is also an option. So it can go either way. You can just do the heavy work and clear it all out and stay with it for a while, or come at it when the symptoms come up.